for Banks.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and it's good to resume my remarks from earlier today. Now, as I said earlier, I think that this Green Army program really demonstrates a clear philosophical difference when it comes to environmental policy between the government and those opposite, and that difference is no better emphasised than in the respective approaches to emissions reduction. On the government side, the direct action plan, a minimal impact on the economy with a very substantial impact on emissions reduction, which will achieve that 5% target by 2020, and of course opposite the carbon tax with huge impacts right across the economy, including the $550 per year that ordinary families are slugged to pay that most unfortunate tax. So that's the broader picture on emissions reduction environmental policy, Mr Deputy Speaker. And within that context of a practical approach to actually fixing environmental problems, the Green Army project is a tremendous example of that very thing. Now, of course, the Green Army project will involve a huge amount of productive, practical work addressing environmental problems right around Australia. And not only will it provide an environmental benefit, but it will also provide an important benefit to the young people of Australia, because it provides opportunities for employment for young Australians from 17 to 24 years of age, and to know when they're getting involved in these projects they're doing something great for their local community and something good for their country as well. So 15,000 participants the government expects to be involved by 2018, 1,500 environmental projects. So it is indeed, Mr Deputy Speaker, a veritable army of people who will be working on these projects. Now, in my electorate, there is a somewhat higher proportion of young people than in Australia as a whole. So the opportunities that are created by the Green Army program are particularly important and particularly appreciated in my community. Of course, Mr Deputy Speaker, they're 6-month projects with 9 young people led by a supervisor who will generally have substantial experience in land care and so on. It will be great to see 2,500 people involved in these projects in the very next financial year. So we are getting very close to the day when these Green Army projects become a reality right around our nation, and that's great to see. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, I wanted to reflect today on 2 Green Army projects that will be taking place within my electorate. They were projects that I fought for during the election campaign and was very pleased to be able to make the commitment to those during that campaign. Now, one of the most beautiful regions in my electorate, Deputy Speaker, is the area around the Georges River, none more so than the area around Oatley, home, of course, to Oatley Park, which is one of the largest urban parks anywhere in Sydney. Now, in Oatley, in the Georges River area, we have the Limekiln Bay wetland area. Now, this was established back in 1999 as a very worthy project to effectively capture as many pollutants as possible from stormwater prior to them getting into the Georges River. And of course, as you'd be aware, Mr Deputy Speaker, the function of gross pollutant traps and similar wetlands is to effectively act as that filter. The dirty water comes in from the stormwater, and of course there are things in that water that we don't want in our rivers. We don't want pollutants in our rivers. We don't want detergents. We don't want rubbish in our rivers. And the role of the pollutant trap at Limekiln Bay is to capture much of those pollutants prior to them entering the river. Now, the wetland has been somewhat successful, Mr Deputy Speaker, but there is a lot more that needs to be done. The reality is, if you visit the wetland at Limekiln Bay, particularly after heavy rain, you will see, with your own eyes, you can see the environmental damage that stormwater does to the area. Sometimes rubbish builds up. Sometimes you'll see a slick in the water from the overflow from the man-made gross pollutant trap. And unfortunately, Mr Deputy Speaker, what that means is that on occasion the water in the Georges River near Limekiln Bay does not meet the standards that we all want it to. Parts of the Georges River are in very good condition. Parts of it are in quite poor condition. And the area around Limekiln Bay, particularly after heavy rain, is an area that absolutely needs our attention. So the Green Army project at Limekiln Bay will develop that wetland, plant more vegetation, and effectively focus on making it more effective. Now, of course, for a wetland to be effective, it needs the right amount of vegetation. It needs to have that infrastructure, for want of a better term, to actually catch those pollutants prior to them getting into the river. And parts of the pollutant of the gross pollutant trap are quite thick with reeds and with the vegetation that is meant to capture the pollutants. Part of the area is not, and replanting that vegetation is an important part of the project. So we're looking forward on getting cracking on this, Mr Deputy Speaker, and it will, of course, complement the great work already being done by local organisations like the Friends of Oatley, the Oatley Flora and Fauna Conservation Society, and of course the local Bush Care group, which does so much great work in conjunction with Hurstville Council. So the Limekiln Bay project is an important one and a fantastic product of this very enlightened policy of the Green Army program. Now, another project that we're looking forward to getting started in my electorate is in the Georges River National Park at Padstow. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, frankly, the Georges River National Park at Padstow is in an appalling state. There is debris and garbage right around the banks of the river in this area. And on a recent trip to this area with some of our local media, those of us who are present continue to be shocked by the very poor quality of the environment at Padstow. The site underneath Alfred's Point Bridge, which is well known to residents of my electorate from Illawong across to Padstow, unfortunately this area has been neglected for some time, and there's a really unfortunate consequence of that. So we've got three important priorities for the clean-up at Padstow, Mr Deputy Speaker. Firstly, the project will remove the significant piles of building and household waste that is on the walking tracks that run down to the Georges River in this area and along the beachfront. As I say, Mr Deputy Speaker, this is an area which urgently needs attention. We will also improve the walking track between Bushland Drive and the beach area. Now, because of the physical environment, the amount of rubbish, the fact that this track is overgrown and very rarely used, it is not a place that the community can enjoy at the moment, Mr Deputy Speaker. And one of the great practical outcomes of this project will be not only the environmental benefit, but the amenity benefit, because once we clean up this area and make it more usable, it will once again be a place where families can enjoy the area along the banks of the Georges River at Padstow. There is also some inappropriate vegetation in this region, and vegetation which is not native vegetation, and in and of itself has caused problems to the natural environment, and we will revegetate the area with native species. And as you know, Mr Deputy Speaker, those native species often form the very useful role of improving the quality of water runoff that ends up in the river. The Georges River, Mr Deputy Speaker, is the environmental jewel in the crown of the Banks Electorate, and indeed much of southern and southwestern Sydney. For too long, parts of the Georges River have been neglected. There are over 400 species of fauna in the area. It is, of course, one of the largest urban river systems in Australia, but it has not got the attention that it has deserved in the past. So we're certainly looking forward to getting these two projects underway, Mr Deputy Speaker. Further applications are in the works for the Banks Electorate, including in the beautiful region of Lugano, and it is tremendous as a local member to be able to bring a practical reality to our environmental policies, to the Green Army program, and deliver benefits for the people of Banks. Thank you.